Hi there, welcome to Sukkos before Sukkos. Today we're going to continue in Perek Hey, Mishnah Aleph. The Mishnah starts off talking about the Simchas Beis HaSha'eva, the great joy which accompanied the drawing of the water which is poured down on the Mizbeach on Chag HaSukkos. As we explained yesterday, the Mishnah says Hecholil, the flute, or all other instruments which were played to accompany this, as the Mishnah will explain in the coming Mishnahs. Chamisha v'shisha, it was either for 5 days or for 6 days. Why is that? Because this is the flute of the Beis HaSha'eva, of the drawing of the water. It doesn't override either Shabbos or Yom Tov. We cannot play the flute for such a thing. It was just for extra joy, and therefore it could not be played on Shabbos or Yom Tov. And therefore, if the first day of Sukkot fell out on Shabbos, so then that day they didn't play the flute, and the remaining 6 days they did. There you have 6. If the first day of Sukkot fell out on any other day of the week, so then that first day, which is Yom Tov, they wouldn't play the flute, and the middle day, which was Shabbos, Shabbos Chol Hamoed, they wouldn't play the flute, and there you have 5 days. So it's either Chamisha or Shisha. Amru, they said, which means it was said, whoever did not see the rejoicing of the Simchas Beis HaSha'eva, the great rejoicing which accompanied the drawing of the water, which was had in the night before, and as the water was drawn in the base for the pouring of the water down in the Mizbeach, has never seen rejoicing in his lifetime. And this is something which the Mishnah is going to continue to describe. The Mishnah says, Mishnah Beis, at the conclusion of the first festival day, which means that the night preceding the first day of Chol Hamoed, all the people descended, they went into the Ezras Noshim, the Kohanim and the Levim, went in that section of the Beis HaMikdash called the Ezras Noshim, was the lowest section of the Beis HaMikdash. Where they made a very great improvement. The Gemara discusses what was this improvement. What they did is that they fixed up, they made a ladies' gallery so that the ladies and the women and the men would not mix too much. In the women's court, there were golden candelabras. There were big menorahs over there. And it says, the Gemara learns out that there were 50 cubits high. They were very, very tall. With 4 golden bowls atop them. There were 4 ladders for each candelabrum. The Gemara discusses it could mean that for every single light in that menorah there was for every menorah there was there were 4 ladders, or could be that one for each one. And there would come along 4 youths from among the young, literally means the blossoms, meaning the very strong kohanim, and they were each holding in their hands pitchers of oil containing 120 lug, which was a huge amount. The Gemara describes their incredible strength to be able to carry that on their back and to climb those ladders and be able to light, which they poured into each bowl. So there's bowls on top of the ladders, they would pour all that big amount of oil. He carries on Mishnah Gimel and says, from the worn out trousers of the Kohanim and from their belts, which Kohanim had used before in the temple service, it wasn't thrown away. What did they do? From them they would make the wicks, they would turn them into wicks, and they would kindle them, they would they would light them over there, they would use them as wicks for this great candles which they would light for the Simchas Beis HaSha'eva. The light was so great, says the Mishnah, that there was not a courtyard in Yerushalayim that was not illuminated by the light of the Beis HaSha'eva. The reason being because the Beis HaMikdash was obviously the highest place in Yerushalayim, and these candles were very, very high atop the menorahs, which were 50 cubits high. Carries on the Mishnah to describe, Mishnah Dalet describes exactly the joy. It says Chasidim, which means very devout men. And men of good deeds, they would dance before them, they would dance before the assembled people with flaming torches that were in their hands, which means that they would juggle with fire. The Gemara describes some would juggle with 4, some would even be able to juggle with 8. And they would utter before them words of song and praise. They would sing praises to Hashem. And the Levim were there with their harps, with the nevolim, and with their lyres, with mitzvotayim, and with their cymbals, and with their trumpets, with chlei, shir, blow, mispar, and countless musical instruments, all different kind of musical instruments is what they had, which they played there. It says, the Levim there stood on the 15 steps, the steps which separated between the Ezras Noshim and the Ezras Yisrael. There's two sections in the Beis HaMikdash. There were 15 steps. Hayardus from Ezras Yisrael, Ezras Noshim, which descend from the court of the Ezras Yisrael. It's one section of the Beis HaMikdash where the big Mizbeach was, to the Ezras Noshim, to this section where the people were at that stage. Keneged, why were there 15 steps? There were Keneged Chamisha Osa Shir Hamalos Shebetehillim, corresponding to the 15 Shir Hamalos, which are found in the Tehillim from chapter Kufchaf 120 to 135. Shalei Levim Omdim Bichlei Shir V'Omdim B'Shir, upon them the Levim would stand with their musical instruments and they would sing the songs. V'Omdu Shnei Kohanim B'Shar Elyon, two Kohanim stood at the upper gate. This is the gate, again, it's called the Shar Nikanor. It was the gate which separated, big doors and gates which separated between the Ezras Yisrael and the Ezras Noshim. Shiyorim Ezras Yisrael, Ezras Noshim, which comes from Ezras Yisrael to Ezras Noshim. Ushtei Chatzos B'Ydeim, they had two trumpets in their hands. Korah HaGever, when the crier would call out, the one who would be the one to call, literally means the one who would call them at daybreak, calling the people to the Kohanim to get up for their service, and the Leviim to their platform in order to do to play the instruments. When he would call, he would give the signal. Taku ve'riu v'taku, they sounded a tekiah, a trua, and a tekiah. They would make these sounds. Higiu l'mayla asiris, when they would reach the 10th step. The Gemara is unsure if it means that they were going up or they were going down, but when they would get to the 10th step, taku ve'riu v'taku, they sounded a tekiah, a trua, and a tekiah. Higiu la'azara, when they reached the azara, when they reached the court, this means the floor of the Ezras Noshim. Taku ve'riu v'taku, they sounded tekiah, trua, and a tekiah. Hoitokin v'holchin, and they continued making these. They would prolong these three blasts. They would blow them for very, very long. Ad shemagin l'shar hayotze mizrach, until they reached the gate leading out to the east, a certain gate in the Beis HaMikdash. This was a gate which led from the women's court to the eastern slope of the Harabais of the Temple Mount. Higiu l'shar hayotze mizrach, when they reached that gate, hafchu pnei l'marav, they turned their faces towards the west, which means the entire group which was about to exit turned towards the temple court, and the more, which was the west, the Ma'ariv means the holy place of the Beis HaMikdash. V'omru, and they made a statement. They said, they said that our forefathers who were in this place were not always such kosher people. Very often their backs were to the Heichel, towards the sanctuary, and their faces towards the east. Why? Because they bowed eastward towards the sun. But as for us, our eyes are towards Hashem. Rabbi Yehuda says, they would actually say it again, we are for Hashem, we are for Hashem, and towards Hashem are our eyes, and that is what that is part of the procession. Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow we will continue, Mitzvah Hashem will be able to finish the Masechta. We've got another 4 Mishnas to do. I wish you a wonderful Shabbos, and enjoy the Sukkos preparation.